for being here today. Um, we had a relatively successful trip out to the East Coast, which is always, trust me, a challenging trip when we take it to play Maryland and Rutgers. But this year I thought it went pretty well. Maryland played us pretty tough on Friday night. They're a team that has, I think they start 4 fifth-year players, people we've seen for many, many years across the net. And if you check your history, Maryland plays us very close, especially at their place. I think 2 years ago they beat us at our place. So nothing ever routine playing Adam Hughes' team, and this year was pretty much the same. I thought we played well in most every aspect of the game on Friday, with the exception of blocking. We didn't seem to have a lot of blocked balls that went to the floor, and could have been that they were covering a lot of balls. That's what my team told me. That with a coach, they just keep covering everything. I thought, well, okay. The next night, we thought that we could improve our blocking, and we did, and really played a terrific match against Rutgers, who has not had a great year in the Big Ten, but still it's a struggle sometimes playing against a team that you're supposed to beat. But we played really, really well. I thought all of our players were exceptional. Both our left sides took the bull by the horns early. Lourdes Myers had a great weekend from start to finish. Lizzie Carr had 2 really good matches during that time coming off the bench. Kenna Woolard, not great on Friday, but really good on Saturday. Raven got it going on Saturday. Allie Horning dug a ton of balls. I thought Ryan McAleer had her best weekend of her career. So overall, when you go out there, sometimes you just hope to escape with 2 wins, but we actually got better. Last week, I know we didn't have a press conference last Monday, probably broke everybody's heart, but now that Sam King is back, we feel like there's reasons to have the press conference. But we talked last week in practice a lot about offense. We felt like our offense started to get a little stale, and so we hit the offense hard, and I thought that showed up in big dividends for us this weekend. So we'll continue to look at that. We'll continue to focus on our blocking this week as we prepare for rivalry match number 2 with Indiana in front of a sellout crowd at their place. And then we have Michigan, who is probably the surprise team of the league right now in the Big Ten on Sunday. So 2 really tough matches on the horizon for our squad. Sam?
Since you're playing Indiana again, what are the challenges when you go out and you beat a team the way you did in a highly emotional match just a few weeks ago, and now you've got to go to their place and play them again?
Well, first of all, you're going to their place. That's where the big challenge is. And they're obviously, I don't want to say who they are or what they are, but if I was in their shoes, I would be ready to play us again, and they will be. They're a good team. They've won 3 in a row. I think we beat them, and then they played Wisconsin. Actually played Wisconsin better than we did in their gym. Since then, they've won 3 in a row, and they're fighting for opportunities to have a great season, get in the NCAA tournament. They've got work to do. So they're a very motivated team, and they're talented. And this is almost the exact same team we played a year ago that beat us at their place. And so we know that the mental aspect of this is really important, and that we're going to have to play a great match to beat them.
You mentioned Ryan McAleer and how well she played last weekend. Is there an adjustment period that you just kind of expect when a freshman comes in, and you don't go into the season lightly? You're playing some heavyweights right out of the gate.
Yeah, definitely. To answer that question, there's an adjustment period for somebody coming from playing high school and club volleyball to playing at the level that we opened our season with, and into Big Ten play. But she is ahead of the curve. She's gotten to a point where she is passing serve at a very high level. She's serving the ball extremely well for us, and now she's learned. Growing up, she never played the right back position defensively. Liberos traditionally play left back, And so most of her career, that's the position she's played. But when you come into a program and there's already some people there that are pretty good, it takes a while for you to maybe earn that spot. And so Allie Horning is playing left back for us as a libero. Our two left sides play in the middle back position. And then for 3 rotations, Ryan is playing in the right back spot. And so that's a new position. Things are happening a lot different than what they were before. Your role is completely different. So yeah, it takes some time for her to adjust to that, to understand what ball is yours, how aggressive to play, the shots that, the hardest ball to dig sometimes is the right side player hitting the cross court shot. And that was trouble for her early, but she's become really disciplined and confident in that position and has really made a big change in our defense. Her ability to go from being an average defender to be a high-level defender has been a big difference.
This has been a family business for your family for your entire life. To have Allie on this team and be able to get her in the other day, how special is this? That, whether it's nieces and nephews, your own kids. It seems like a lot of your family has stayed in this for a long time, and now, with her being here, it's kind of the next step in that evolution.
Yeah, you try. You don't try really hard, but it's your intent to not treat your daughter or your niece any different than anybody else. Okay, and I think I've been able to handle that responsibility pretty well. We were awful tough on my daughter when she was here, and probably not quite as tough on Allie, but maybe Allie's doesn't need that kind of tough love that Lindsay needed when she was here. But Allie has been great. The one thing that she does for us is she studies our opponents, and she knows what she needs to do in practice to simulate what that team is going to do. She's really smart from that standpoint. She was flawless. I sent her dad a text after the match saying that Allie was flawless in that third set when she came in and played. And one thing about Allie is she's really cool. I mean, she doesn't seem to let anything bother her. She's kind of the same player Tuesday at practice as she is Saturday night at the match. She's thrilled to be here. She just loves Purdue. She grew up, watching these Purdue teams play. And, she was probably one of the 7 or 8 highest ranked setters in the country coming out of high school. And yet she hasn't, jumped into a starting spot, obviously, with Taylor here. But the performance that she gave us on Saturday and what we're seeing in practice gives us a lot of confidence to play her at any time. She's not as big as Taylor, okay? But, she's 5'9.5" in that category, so she's not small. But she's bringing a lot of positives to our team, and I probably do pay a little more attention to how she's getting along maybe than some others, but again, I try to treat them all the same.
Lizzie Carr has a couple pretty good players in front of her with Raven and Lourdes. What is she doing, though, better and better to get more playing time on the court?
Well, what's helped when you have somebody 6'6" and you feel like they can help your team is you provide her opportunities to play other positions as well. So she's been playing some opposite, some right side, which is kind of where Kenna Woolard has been starting. In the last 2 weeks, we probably have seen one of those jumps from Lizzie that you hope to see. I mean, just a really significant jump forward. And part of that is because, number one, she's just getting better. Number two, she's gotten some playing time. She's been rewarded with opportunities to play. That's gone well. The mental makeup in the sport of volleyball, probably like every sport, is really, really huge. And I think right now there's a lot of positive things going for her. She played right side against Maryland, hammered about 3 or 4 balls for us. And then she came in and played middle against Rutgers in sets 2 and 3, and got opportunities there as well. And so I think she's really on the right track right now. And, I told some of our staff today that I feel really comfortable playing her in either spot against anybody right now, because that's the level she's gotten to be right now.
Your schedule varies from week to week in the amount of days in between matches. And I know coaches like more and more time to prepare. But with the NCAA tournament being back-to-back nights, would it be more advantageous? Would you rather see more back-to-backs to prepare for that, or are you okay with the schedule the way it is now?
When I first got here to Purdue, we played every Friday, Saturday in the Big Ten. And our coaches liked that because that's what we were going to see in the NCAA tournament. And then with TV and football dictating some days that you cannot play at sites, we got away from that. And now we wonder, how in the world did we do that? Because it's hard. And this was a classic example. You go to Maryland, you play the Terps, you then transport your team to New Brunswick. You get there about 1 o'clock in the morning. You're up watching tape. Your staff's up watching tape. You meet with your team the next day and start that process of trying to get ready for another Big Ten team. Yeah, and that's what it's like in the NCAA tournament, but you just as soon wish the NCAA tournament would give you a break, in which they are now. The only time I think in the NCAA tournament you're playing back-to-back would be the first and second round. Now they've actually gone in the regionals and obviously the Final Four to giving you a little bit of time. So I think maybe doing that a couple of times during the season gets you prepared for it a little bit, but I would not want to do that all the time. It's painful to not have any kind of a break and have to prepare your team. And for them to have to get ready. And then if you have players you lean on heavily, like we lean on our left sides to jump a lot and to hit a lot of balls, for them to play back-to-back nights over the course of a season would be really difficult.
Last one for me. Usually about 2/3 of the way into the season, see this with basketball, you get a little bit of that mental and physical fatigue because you're well into the season, but you're not quite close enough to the finish line. Is that something you see, and if so, how do you battle that at this time of the year?
Yeah, I don't think that's something that we do see on a regular basis, Tim. We work really hard to make sure we don't overdo it, as far as overtraining, spending too much time in the gym, getting too many jumps, making it hard to walk into the gym for practice every day. We don't want to be that way. I mean, I know that sounds simple and it's not, but I don't think so. I think that you recruit people that want to compete and want to play at the highest level, and for example, this week we got Indiana. That's a huge match for our players to go back there and to be able to try to simulate what happened here, which it won't be. It'll be a totally different match. But you're going to do it in front of their sellout crowd at their place. So, but I don't see that. I mean, I think you guard against it a lot during the season to try to make sure it doesn't happen. I think that the fact that we've got new teams this year in this league have added some excitement to it, some enthusiasm to it. Things are going pretty well for the most part for our team. So I don't think that's something that we've had a lot of issues with.
Coach, speaking of Ryan, young freshman coming in, and what did you see from her during the summer that's allowed her to, insert herself and play a key role in this team's back row this year?
Yeah, she has no fear. Nothing bothers her. Great competitor. Came in with really good ball skills as far as the ability to defend and serve and pass and understand the game. Has an older sister that I think she was around a lot, and she's been around this game a lot. She's got two really good parents that I think have helped shape her mentality to know that nothing's going to be easy. You got to compete. You got to earn what you get. And so I just think she came in a good position, but she has improved dramatically. And I think before you got in, we were talking a little bit about just what a difference she's making right now in our team, that it is really hard for people to put the ball down against us, where earlier in the season it was hard, but not as hard. And now even with Taylor Anderson in that right back position for 3 rotations, and Ryan McAleer for 3 rotations, and then our 2 left side hitters playing middle back, and then Allie Horning, who's been probably a surprise to a lot of people how well she's played defensively for us. It's really hard to put balls away against us.
And speaking of which, I mean, it's almost a prerequisite now that your hitters have to be able to shot receive. As far as like that growth, to see your attackers do some of the work as well that your liberos like Ali are doing, how much is that really just adding to this team's potency?
that's who we've become. I mean, that's kind of, I remember Tim Newton, a veteran broadcaster, asked the question around the Penn State match, I think it was, what's your identity? And I didn't have an answer for him. I failed the test. Our identity now is we're really tough. Okay, we really compete. We play great defense. Somebody's got to play awful well to beat us, and we didn't have that before. A lot of that is people like Chloe and Eva that can play all 6 rotations and not leave the floor and help us in every way and be really, really mentally tough for an entire match. That's hard to do, okay, but that's who they are. So I think that, you know, a lot of these players that you're talking about right now have really helped shape that identity that was lost for a while within our team.
Coach, you mentioned that, you know, this second go-around with Indiana is going to be different. What do you feel like they're going to be able to do to you game 2 that maybe they couldn't do in game 1 just because of the energy, the excitement, just the almost flawlessness you brought when you were playing at Mackey?
Yeah, it was a tough environment, I think, for anybody to step into the first time we've had that sellout crowd in Mackey. And all of us that have been involved in competition have experienced the highs and the lows. And when you experience a low, you certainly want to respond to that. I mean, that's what great teams do. It's what good teams do. And so I know that that's what they're thinking about, and they have responded. As I mentioned earlier, they've won 3 in a row, playing better volleyball, and obviously a good way for them to forget about anything negative that happened in our match would be to punch us in the mouth in front of their home crowd. So, you know, I just, all I know is our team needs to be ready to play. And, you know, we have 4 days to get ready for them. And I think that, you know, they've made some adjustments, or they've played some different people a little bit. But for the most part, both teams will be pretty similar. And it's just, you know, who's going to be engaged and who's going to be at their best when this match is played down in Bloomington.
Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
Final questions? All right.
Thank you.